There are some things in life you can never explain. Moments so terrifying, they stay with you forever. Tonight I'm going to share 3 real horror stories. Stories that still haunt me to this day. But be warned, once you hear them, you might never feel safe again. If you are a horror and true scary stories lover, do not forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment.
Story 1. The Haunted Road Trip. This was supposed to be a fun road trip, but by the time we realized something was following us, it was too late. We were just a group of friends, eager to explore, seeking adventure. We ignored the warnings, we laughed at the superstitions, but the road, that cursed road, had other plans for us. It started small. The streetlights flickered as we passed. A shadow darted across the highway, just at the edge of our vision. At first, we blamed it on exhaustion, the tricks of a tired mind. But then, the feeling of being watched settled in. It clung to us, thick as the midnight fog. We stopped at an old gas station. The attendant's eyes were sunken, his voice a raspy whisper. "If you see the woman in white, don't stop. Keep driving." We laughed it off. A ghost story, nothing more. But as we continued down that desolate highway, our laughter faded. Because there she was, standing barefoot in the middle of the road, dressed in a tattered white gown. Her head tilted, her hollow eyes staring right into our souls. Swerved, barely missing her, heart pounding. But when we dared to look back, she was gone. Relieved, we kept driving, trying to shake off the fear. But then, someone in the car gasped, "Check the back seat." A single muddy footprint inside. At that moment, silence gripped us. No one moved, no one breathed. The car felt smaller, suffocating. Our friend in the passenger seat turned, his face pale in the dim glow of the dashboard. "We need to stop," he whispered. I shook my head. "No way! We keep going!" But then the car's engine sputtered. The dashboard lights flickered, and then complete darkness. The hum of the engine vanished. The car slowed, coasted, stopped. Panic set in. My hands shook as I turned the key. Click, click, nothing. A dead road, an unresponsive car, and a shadow lurking somewhere behind us. Then a tap. Gentle, rhythmic. On the rear window, no one dared to turn around. The air in the car grew heavy, thick with something unseen but undeniably present. And then the sound of breathing. Deep, slow, inhuman, right behind us. A friend in the back seat started whispering a prayer. Another gripped my arm so tightly that their nails dug into my skin. And then a low, whispering voice let me in. It wasn't a question. It was a demand. I fumbled for my phone, desperate for light, for anything. But as soon as the screen illuminated, I saw it in the reflection. A figure, pale, gaunt, with eyes like hollow pits. Its mouth stretched unnaturally wide, revealing teeth too long, too sharp. It was smiling. My body locked up. Every muscle screamed at me to move, to run, to do something. But I couldn't. None of us could. Then the door handle rattled. That was enough to snap us out of it. "Drive!" someone shouted. "Go! Now!" I turned the key again, begging the car to start. The engine sputtered, coughed, and roared to life. The headlights flickered back on. and in the glow, we saw her standing in the middle of the road ahead. Wasn't walking, she wasn't running, she was just there, closer than before. With no other choice, I slammed my foot on the gas. The car lurched forward, the tires screeching against the pavement. We braced ourselves for impact, but the moment we should have hit her, she vanished. The car sped down the highway, our hearts pounding like a war drum in our chests. We didn't stop. Not until we reached the next town. Not until we saw the glow of streetlights and felt the safety of civilization around us. We pulled into a motel parking lot, breathless, shaking. No one spoke as we stepped out, each of us scanning the empty streets, still expecting to see her lurking in the shadows. Then, our friend in the back seat opened his mouth to say something, but froze. His face drained of color. He lifted a trembling hand and pointed at the car's rear window. Handprints, dozens of them, smudged across the glass, small, like a child's. None of us slept that night, and none of us ever took that road again. If you were in that car, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments. And if this story has sent shivers down your spine, smash that like button and subscribe for more horror.
Story 2. The Unseen Presence in My House. I moved into this house 3 years ago. I haven't lived alone since. At first it was just little things. A door slightly ajar when I was sure I had closed it. The sound of footsteps in the hall when I was the only one home. Things I could explain away. Things I told myself were just in my head. But then, it got worse. One night, I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone, when I felt it. A shift in the air. The kind that makes your skin prickle, your breath hitch in your throat. I wasn't alone. I could feel it. The weight of unseen eyes pressing against me, watching, studying. I sat up, heart pounding. My room was dark, except for the faint glow from my phone screen. I reached for the lamp, but before my fingers could touch the switch, I heard it. A whisper, soft, indistinct, coming from the corner of my room. I froze, my breath caught in my chest. I wanted to believe it was the wind, a trick of my tired mind. But deep down, I knew better. Someone was there. Something was there. The next morning, I convinced myself I had imagined it. But the unease lingered. It wrapped around me like a cold mist, refusing to let go. So that night, I decided to put my fears to rest. I set up my phone to record while I slept, just for peace of mind. When I woke up, I hesitated before checking the footage. My finger hovered over the play button. Then, I pressed it. At first, there was nothing. Just me, lying still. The soft rise and fall of my breath. Hours passed in seconds. Then, at exactly 3:15 a.m., my bedroom door slowly opened. But no one was there. I felt the blood drain from my face. I watched, frozen, as the door in the video creaked wider, inch by inch, until it stood completely open. My pulse thundered in my ears. Then, just as I thought it was over, I heard it. A voice, a whisper, distorted, like a broken radio signal. "I'm still here." The phone slipped from my fingers. I stared at the screen, heart hammering against my ribs. The whisper hadn't come from me. It hadn't come from anywhere in the house. It had come from right next to my bed. I deleted the video, told myself it was a glitch, interference, some rational explanation. But that night, as I lay in bed, the air felt heavier. The darkness seemed deeper, and then, at exactly 3:15 a.m., I woke up. Not because of a noise, not because of a nightmare, but because I felt something warm, damp, against my ear. I shot up, fumbling for the light. My hands were shaking so badly, I nearly knocked over the lamp. The room flooded with light, and I scanned every inch, every shadow, every darkened corner. Nothing. I barely slept after that, but what happened next made me wish I had left that house the moment it all started. One night, as I sat on the couch, pretending to watch TV, something moved in the corner of my vision. My head snapped toward it, but the hallway was empty. My stomach twisted. Then the TV flickered. The screen went black for just a second, and in that second, I saw it. A reflection, not mine. Standing behind me, my body went ice cold. I turned, slowly, my pulse roaring in my ears. But there was nothing there, just empty space where something had stood just moments ago. I couldn't do this anymore. I had to prove to myself that I wasn't losing my mind. So I set up cameras, one in my bedroom, one in the hallway, one in the living room. And then I waited. The next morning, I checked the footage. My fingers trembled as I clicked through the files. At first, there was nothing unusual. Just me, sleeping, shifting in bed. The house was still. And then, at 3:15 a.m., my closet door slowly swung open. Not fast, not jerky, smooth, deliberate, as if someone or something was stepping out. But nothing came out. The door just hung there, open. And then I saw them. HANDPRINTS on the inside of the door. I don't remember shutting off the video. I don't remember standing up. All I know is that the next moment, I was grabbing my car keys and running out. The front door, heart slamming against my ribs. I never went back. I left everything behind. My clothes, my furniture, my pictures. Let the house keep them. I didn't care. I just needed to get out, because some things don't want to be seen. Some things just want you to know they're there. If you've ever experienced something you can't explain, something that made your skin crawl, your breath hitch, let me know in the comments. And if this story kept you on edge, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because trust me, the things in the dark, they're always watching. Story 3. The Date with the Stalker. I met him on a dating app. At first he seemed perfect, charming, witty, the kind of guy who knew exactly what to say, how to make me laugh. But looking back now, I should have seen the signs. I should have known that something was wrong. We met at a little cafe downtown. The kind of place with warm lighting and the smell of fresh coffee hanging in the air. He smiled when he saw me, but there was something about the way he looked at me, like he already knew me, like we weren't meeting for the first time. At first the conversation was normal, favorite movies, travel dreams. But then he started bringing up things I never told him. My favorite coffee order, the name of my childhood pet, the street I lived on a few years ago. I laughed it off. Wow, you must be a really good guesser. He smiled. I just pay attention. A chill ran down my spine. I should have left right then, but I didn't. I stayed. I let him walk me to my car, and before I drove away, he said something I'll never forget. Drive safe. And don't worry, I'll make sure you get home okay. I froze. I never told him where I lived. My heart pounded as I drove home. I kept checking my mirrors, feeling like someone was watching me. But I told myself I was being paranoid, just nerves from a weird date. Then the messages started. Did you make it home safe? I ignored it. A few minutes later, I know you're home. I saw you turn your lights on. My stomach dropped. I blocked his number, but that didn't stop him. The next morning, a new message from a different number. You're even prettier when you sleep. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't just a bad date. This was something much, much worse. I barely slept that night. Every creak of my apartment made my skin crawl. I checked my windows, my locks, but the feeling wouldn't go away. That feeling of being watched. Days passed. I stopped leaving the house after dark. I started carrying my keys between my fingers, looking over my shoulder whenever I walked to my car. Then one night, I heard it. A soft knock at my window. I live on the second floor. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. My phone was across the room, too far to reach. Slowly, I turned my head, and my blood ran cold. A shadow stood outside my window. He was there, smiling, watching. I don't remember screaming. I don't remember grabbing my phone. But I must have, because suddenly, the police were at my door. By the time they arrived, he was gone. No footprints, no signs of forced entry. Just a single note, tucked under my doormat. You should lock your balcony door. I moved the next day, but even now, sometimes, late at night, I still feel like he's watching. The nightmares started soon after I moved. I would wake up drenched in sweat, my heart hammering in my chest. In the dreams, I was never alone. He was there, just beyond the edge of the darkness, waiting, smiling. One night, I woke up to my phone vibrating, a blocked number. I hesitated, then answered. At first, silence, then breathing, slow, shallow, right into my ear. I hung up, my hands were shaking. But before I could put my phone down, a text popped up. Why did you move? I liked your old place better. I felt sick. I knew it wasn't over. The next morning I found something outside my door. A single red rose. No note, no explanation. Just a reminder that he was still out there, watching. I called the police again. They assured me they'd look into it, but I could tell they didn't believe me. It's probably just a prank, they said. Don't worry, but I did worry. That night, I barricaded my bedroom door. I double-checked my locks. I tried to sleep, but every sound made my skin crawl. Then, at 3:12 a.m., my phone buzzed. A photo. I hesitated before opening it, and my blood turned to ice. It was me, asleep in my bed. The photo was taken from inside my room. I stared at it. My breath caught in my throat. My hands were ice cold as I scrambled for my lamp, turning it on in a panic. My closet door was slightly open. Had it always been like that? Or had someone been there, watching me? I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I packed my things and left the city. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I changed my number. I deleted my social media. For months, I thought I was safe. Then, last week, I got a letter, no return address, just my name, written in precise, careful handwriting. Inside was a single piece of paper. Found you. If this happened to you, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments. And if this story sent chills down your spine, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more real-life horror. Because sometimes, the scariest monsters are the ones that walk among us.
There are some things in life you can never explain. Moments so terrifying, they stay with you forever. Tonight I'm going to share 3 real horror stories. Stories that still haunt me to this day. But be warned, once you hear them, you might never feel safe again. If you are a horror and true scary stories lover, do not forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Some nightmares don't end when you wake up. Some stay with you, waiting, watching, ready to return when you least expect it. If you've ever had an experience you can't explain, be careful, because sometimes the horror is closer than you think.